Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of Coast to Coast Lifestyles with myself, Heather Kusiva with Windermere Real Estate in the Seattle, Washington area, and Cassie Webb with Elevate Real Estate down in Mississippi. And it's going to be a really good episode today because we finally get the big reveal of Cassie's remodel, which has been a long project for you, hasn't it?
Yes, much longer than expected, which we can talk about later. But yeah, it's the big Reno reveal day.
Yay! I'm so excited because I've seen like bits and pieces of it, but I haven't seen like a full walkthrough yet. So I'm very excited, just like hopefully all the viewers are.
So let's actually, we'll just keep it on mute, but let's just chat for a couple of minutes as we kind of watch the original video. So let me get it on the screen here.
I like how you do a match.
There we go. So this was actually the day that we bought it. We literally like drove, a funny story, actually the appliances got delivered before closing. But anyway, we literally drove from closing to the house, and I did this video. And so there's a lot you can see here, you know, like the obviously the red, a lot of red. And there's some things you can't see here. So for example, it had a very bad nicotine odor. The previous owners were smokers, and we're not. So we definitely had to address that. You can't see in there, but there was a extreme roach infestation. We probably had 1,000 plus dead roaches with the initial treatment alone.
Oh my God.
So yeah, the other challenge that we had, which we'll talk a little more about challenges later, but the other challenge we had that we weren't really taken into consideration until our Sherwin-Williams rep was amazing, and he came and helped us. But the ceiling was semi-gloss, which apparently causes big issues if you paint a ceiling semi-gloss and then try to paint over it, because the gravity, you know, science. I learned paint is so much more scientific. And then obviously you can see there the carpet. There was some water damage in the back and things like that. So this walkthrough, it's on my Facebook page, but it really, the video doesn't do it justice.
I mean, you can definitely see a lot of the really bad carpet, and you can see a ton of spots on the ground. So I assume that's the roaches you're talking about.
Yeah.
And the tiles and I'm sure they painted it a dark red because the nicotine was like staining white walls. So I'm sure they were trying to hide that with the red.
Yeah, it was actually that was the one way that semi-gloss helped us, because the nicotine this was sitting on top of the semi-gloss. So we actually literally washed the walls prior to painting. It was very expensive. I would say that was the most, we knew it was the biggest thing it needed, but it ended up being a little more expensive than we were expecting. So are we ready to see the finished products?
Yes, so ready.
All right, let's see. Give me just a second. Let me get this. For some reason, it takes a second. So this is never before seen footage, okay? This is never before seen footage. I actually shot this morning. I'll give some opening commentary in a second on the video. So we'll listen to actual audio on this one. But anyway, so here we are today. And as I'll open the video with, it's not 100% done, but you'll get the gist, and then we will come back when it's done, which may be a year from now, realistically, because we live here as well. So anyway, let's check it out.
Hey guys, so today we are going to show the finished product. Now, we still have some unpacking to do, as you will see, and we still have some finishing touches, but overall, the vast majority of the project is complete. So obviously, first thing you can see is the paint job has been modified to something more neutral. We've replaced some light fixtures. We're still kind of working on what we're going to do with the fireplace over there. The dining room, some things ended up feeling much more spacious once we kind of opened up with the lighter paint color. And then one of my favorite things is the kitchen. So we have the butcher block countertops. We got some really nice appliances, really nice sink. And so it's kind of brought some modern touches, even though it's not as super spacious. We're still building our pantry over here. And we got a really cool light fixture. I love this light fixture in here. So then we replaced the back door. So it's got a brand new back door, some other light fixtures. And then in here you'll see, obviously, all new paint. We pretty much did same paint throughout the entire thing, with the exception of one room, which we'll get a peek at. So we have one bedroom here. We have the other here. This was the bright blue. We have a new air condition. And then we ended up doing a little more to the bathrooms than we were expecting. So they're super cute. Love these vanities. And the new mirror, light fixture, everything. Right here is my office area. So this room is a little different. The girls actually picked out this pink color, and it's got a little different feel and light fixture and everything to it. And then lastly, we have the master bedroom here. And we did some little things. We've got some extra furnishings and such we're going to add. Just because the closet space is a little bit limited here. But it's turning out really, really nice. And then lastly is the bathroom. So we did replace the vanity. It's got a nice new vanity top. As you can see, again, still finishing touches. And then we kept the shower, but replaced some of the fixtures and things to make it more modern. So overall, that's how it's going. We'll do another video once it's completely done and we've got all of our finishing touches. But definitely wanted to give you guys an update. So we'll see you soon.
That is awesome. That is so night and day different. That is so cool.
Yeah. So was it different than you thought it would be? Hang on just a second. I actually wanted to see the date. I didn't pay attention of that original video to see exactly that date to the date. Hang on 1 second, because I've lost track of time, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, it's totally normal.
Yeah. So January 26th. So 2 months to the day, and we've been done. Well, when I say done, it's a work in progress, as you can see, but pretty much done for a couple of weeks. So really about a 45-day project. So
yeah. Dang.
So,
it looks so
you have any questions, comments, concerns?
I literally grabbed a pen and paper because I had so many questions. So questions / comments, like worth talking about. But one of the question is, like, you kind of mentioned a couple of times that there are some things that popped up. So what are some of the surprises that you're like, well, crap, that was not accounted for, but like these are things that we had to deal with?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we've renovated quite a few houses. On the older ones, where there's obviously been some floor plan modification and different owners doing different things, we allocate quite a bit for unexpected expenses and things that come up. This one was pretty much the original floor plan, other than they had kind of moved the laundry room to the other side, which is now the walk-in pantry, and then the garage has the laundry room. I actually really love it. But so what we did not realize, it appears that the house previously flooded probably in Hurricane Katrina back in 2005. And there was a lot of volunteers that came and helped, which we super love. However, it did bring some obstacles we weren't, expecting. And so that was kind of part of it. And then the paint again needed, like we talked about in the beginning, quite a bit more. But overall, it was pretty much what we expected. And we were hoping to salvage some stuff that we knew we probably couldn't, and then we couldn't. So, and then we kind of cut a few things out of the budget towards the end to keep us in budget. But anyway, so
yeah,
that's it. But yeah, again, it's house by house. Sometimes you can tell it's just really needs some look. You have to 100% of the time, no matter what. Put a cushion in there. We're going to talk about new construction next week. I'm sure you got to do that on new construction too, but put your little cushion in there for things that pop up. So,
yep. Yeah. So you said that you've done a few of these, and we've also talked about like some of the headaches that can be involved with remodels. So why even do a remodel? It sounds like it's a headache. It sounds like it's a lot of work. Why do it in the first place? And several of them, by the way.
Yeah, a lot. It's sometimes it's kind of like kids. Like people say they're done having kids and then they keep having kids. It's kind of like that, but first off, I love restoring things. Well, not furniture, but I love restoring houses. So it's really, really like satisfying on a deep level to take a house that obviously at one point in time, this was a beautiful house. And it was very well done and well maintained. And then things went haywire and we were able to kind of bring it back to a beautiful state, and it will be a nice home for someone else when we choose to go on our next adventure. So I love that. I love that, my previous house just prior to this one, I didn't love the paint colors, but it wasn't worth fixing the paint colors because too much time, effort, expense, everything. So like I kind of like, especially in a house I'm going to be living in, I really like if it needs, for instance, paint, because then I get to paint the paint colors and I'm not going to procrastinate because it has to be painted. And same with flooring and cabinets and anything else. So the number one reason, if I'm being honest, is because I have not finalized the math, sorry to say, but I estimate we probably accrued about $40,000 in equity. Now, we will not realize that until we sell it. However, at that time, we could have 40, 50, 60, who knows, depending on what the market does. And we intend to occupy this as our primary residence for at least 2 years. So that will likely be tax-free income, if you will, but getting from the house. And so at the end of the day, we would have never been able to find this house for what we have invested in it. So it also gave us a great deal and affordable price. And a house that is our own. Like we designed everything, we picked the colors, so it's really a win-win for me. So
yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, it looks awesome. So a couple of things that popped up in the newer one as well is like your fireplace. You said that you're still trying to figure out what to do with the fireplace. Do you have any plans on what you're thinking?
Yes. So I am not an interior designer. If anyone wants to give me any input, I would love it. However, what I think that we're going to do is we're going to keep the stone and essentially whitewash it with white trim to match the rest of the trim in the house. And then paint the gold part black just to give it contrast and make it a little more modern. And if you notice, a lot of our kind of fixtures and finishes throughout the house are black, like a matte black. So it'll kind of bring that together too. So that's our plan.
Awesome. I love it. And just a side note too, at one point you mentioned that once you changed the colors of the walls, some of the rooms felt bigger. So you ended up changing up your dining table, right? So that is a super important point that I think not a lot of people realize is like your paint matters. The darker it is, the smaller the room feels. So when you brighten it up and neutralize it, it can look like a completely different space, which, as we saw with yours, like the before and after, it completely changed the feel of the space. You could literally change nothing else, and just changing that paint color is like, holy crap, this is great.
Yeah,
so that was really neat.
Yeah, I didn't think honestly that our dining room set, for example, was gonna fit in there. And once we got it painted, I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually a really nice size. And I see Mike is on the call. I did want to give a shout out to him. He's actually, this was an off-market property as well. And so anyway, one of our viewers here is the one that sold us the house. So I really appreciate him. And it was a little bit of delays in a journey. Anytime you're working with, kind of we talked about before, a property that maybe is in some type of distress, it can be more challenging. And so anyway, he was awesome helping us work together to get in it. So.
Oh, yay. That's so cool. So the only other question I have for now is like, how does financing work with a project like that? Especially with just all the work you had to put into it, right? Did you have to have all the cash on hand for the remodel, or is there financing options, or how did you go about that?
Yeah, I'm actually super glad that you asked that, because I had forgotten, but that's definitely something I wanted to mention. People a lot of times have the misconception that, yeah, you need a ton of cash like sitting around. Like obviously we had labor, we had materials, we had the air conditioning got replaced, we had some big ticket items. So there are, on this one, we used a renovation loan, and there's a lot of different types of renovation loans, really just like there's all different types of mortgages and in general. And so you can do a commercial, a residential, but what a lot of people don't know necessarily is that it's super easy to get into. If it's going to be your primary residence, you can get into a renovation mortgage for as little as 3.5% down. And essentially, I'm going to oversimplify it here. Maybe one day we can bring the lender on and dive a little deeper, but basically you're rolling in the cost of the renovation, similar to, we're going to be talking about construction loans here soon, and similar to that, where you're rolling that into the loan and then paying a down payment based on the total amount of the loan, rather than having to fork out. So yeah, because definitely that was, that would have been a lot of funds to have to come up with. And so I think that's one reason that people shy away from fixer-uppers. But it can be a great option to get you into a house just like you want it. Again, this one was 45 days basically, and it can be much more affordable than people think. So.
Awesome. In fact, in a few weeks, we're planning on doing a how to basically how to finance new construction. So, and the lender I was going to bring on for that actually also does renovation loans. So we might just kind of tie those in together and kind of get all the financing questions answered with that kind of stuff, cover both sides, which could be pretty fun and a good way to go about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to deep dive into it because we could talk all day about that, but I mean, there's ones that you can finance, for example, 10% of the purchase price, relatively easy. You can finance up to $35,000. There's a streamlined finance program for that. And then if any major renovations or structural or what have you, then it actually can still be done, but sometimes there's a few more hoops to jump through, just because it's a bigger project, a little more like a construction loan and things like that. So, but yeah, always definitely reach out if you have any questions about that, because like I said, I mean, it's a really great option to get people in a house that they may not otherwise be able to afford or afford as comfortably. So
yeah, that's definitely a big key thing, is just, I don't think people realize that there's so much more out there other than a standard 30-year conventional fixed rate. Like there's so many loan programs out there. So if you think that you can't afford something, you can't afford a remodel, you can't afford a new construction, you can't afford a house at all, reach out to a real estate agent, reach out to a local lender and say, this is my situation. Like, are there choices? Are there options? And you will probably be pretty surprised at what they'll come up with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always worth a conversation. And then you know. And yeah, literally, I got people here. I mean, getting into houses and literally getting a check back at closing. Not saying that happens every day, but I mean, you know, there's people literally getting into houses for basically zero. So, I am super excited for next week. We're going to talk about the types of new construction, and then we're going to be diving later into Heather's full construction project, which I'm super excited about learning as well. And so we will see you guys next week, same time, same place.